Dr. Elias Rowe sat quietly in his small lab on the edge of human space. The outpost, called Horizon Station, orbited a cold, gray planet far from Earth. It was a place most people forgot, except for those who studied strange life forms or kept watch for new signals from the stars. Elias was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life. He loved his work, but often felt lonely. Horizon was far from home, and most of the station's people were soldiers or diplomats, not scientists, like him. His days were filled with tests and observations of tiny creatures found on nearby moons. But today was different. The station's communications console beeped loudly, breaking the quiet. Elias stood and walked over. On the screen appeared a strange symbol, an official sign from the Talani Dominion, a powerful alien empire humans had only recently contacted. The Talani were tall, with tough scaled skin and sharp eyes. They were known for their strict rules and strong warriors. Message followed. It was a recorded video of Commander Threx, the leader of the Talani diplomatic fleet. He stood tall and proud in his silver armor, his eyes fixed on the camera. Then, in perfect Basic, the common language used in space, he said something that shocked everyone on Horizon Station. Dr. Elias Rowe, human. You must examine my body. It is an order. The message ended abruptly. Elias stared at the screen in disbelief. An alien commander had personally ordered him, a low-ranking scientist, to examine his body? Why? And why now? The station's commander, Captain Maya Lin, entered the room. Did you see that? She asked, her voice tight with surprise. Yes, Elias replied. I don't understand why Threx would send this. It's unusual. Very unusual. Captain Lin frowned. The Talani don't usually make demands like this, especially not directly. This could be a diplomatic test, or a trap. Elias shook his head. Or a desperate plea. I have to try to understand. The message had created a buzz across the station. Soldiers whispered about what the alien commander might want. Diplomats debated if they should refuse or accept. But Elias was the only one qualified to perform a medical examination on an alien. After hours of waiting, a special shuttle landed at Horizon's docking bay. The airlock hissed, and Commander Threx entered the station. His presence filled the room. He was larger than most humans, with rough green scales that caught the light. His silver armor was covered with marks from past battles. Elias felt a mix of fear and excitement. This was the first time he met the Talani commander face to face. He stepped forward, trying to hide his nervousness. Dr. Rowe, Threx said, his voice deep but calm, thank you for accepting my request. I do not trust my own healers to find the problem. Elias nodded. I will do my best, Commander. Please tell me what you are feeling. Threx hesitated. My body is weak in ways I do not understand. Pain comes and goes. Strength fades without reason. I am still the leader of my fleet, but I fear I may become useless. Elias listened carefully. This was no normal medical check. The commander's condition seemed serious, and the fact that he bypassed his own medics was troubling. Where do you feel the pain? Elias asked. Throughout, but most in the chest and limbs. Sometimes my vision blurs. Sometimes I lose balance. Elias began preparing his tools. He needed to scan the commander's body fully. The Talani physiology was very different from humans. They had more bones, thicker muscles, and an unusual circulatory system. Commander, please lie down on this examination table, Elias said gently. Threx obeyed, moving with surprising grace for such a large creature. Elias attached sensors to his skin. The machines hummed softly as data streamed onto Elias's monitor. For hours, Elias worked. He scanned every organ, every muscle, every cell he could reach. The readings were strange. Some parts of Threx's body were normal for his species. But other parts showed anomalies, patterns Elias had never seen before. One result caught his attention. A set of genetic markers deep in the commander's DNA matched markers found in humans. This was impossible. No human genes should be in a Talani warrior. Elias frowned. He carefully reran the test. The result was the same. Commander Threx, Elias said quietly, I am seeing something unexpected in your DNA. Part of it looks human. Threx's eyes narrowed. Explain. I don't know how it is possible, but your body contains genetic material similar to humans. It is not inherited. There are signs it was added, like a modification. Threx was silent for a moment. Then slowly he spoke. There was a secret project long ago. The High Council wanted to improve our soldiers. They took genes from many species, from humans too. It was forbidden to talk about it. Elias's heart raced. But why would you be affected now? Why are you sick? I do not know. The changes were supposed to make me stronger, but I feel weaker. My body is rejecting these changes. Elias sat back, thinking hard. The discovery was huge. Humans, often seen as weak by the galaxy, had contributed something powerful and dangerous to the Talani biology. Commander, I will need to study you more, Elias said. But this is beyond normal exams. You will need to trust me. Threx nodded slowly. I do, because I have no choice. As night fell on horizon station, Elias sat alone in his lab staring at the data on his screen. A new mystery had begun, one that could change everything humans thought about their place in the galaxy. The next morning, Horizon Station buzzed with quiet anticipation. Word had spread that Commander Threx was staying longer than expected, and that Dr. Elias Rowe would continue his examination. In the lab, Elias prepared the room carefully. Advanced medical machines stood ready, scanners, gene analyzers, and life monitors, tools designed to study alien biology in detail. Threx entered, his heavy steps echoing in the sterile room. He looked tired but determined. Elias noticed the commander's eyes flicker with something unexpected, hope. Today we begin a full examination, Elias said, speaking slowly. I need to understand your condition better. Threx nodded. Do what you must. Elias began with non-invasive scans. Machines hummed softly as beams passed over Threx's scaled skin, mapping his body's structure and functions. Data filled Elias's screens, revealing muscles, organs, and energy flows unfamiliar to any human doctor. But as the scans continued, Elias noticed strange irregularities. Threx's blood carried an unusual chemical signature. His cells showed rapid regeneration in some areas, but damage in others that should have healed. His immune system was overactive, attacking parts of his own body. These symptoms puzzled Elias. It was like the commander's body was at war with itself. This is not a simple illness, Elias said aloud, more to himself than to Threx. The commander's sharp eyes met his. What do you see? Elias hesitated, then replied, Your body is changing. It fights itself, as if it does not accept parts of itself. This matches what I saw in your DNA. The human genes implanted in you are causing rejection. Threx's face darkened. I was warned. The High Council hid the project for a reason. They hoped no one would discover it. Elias looked up. Why did you come to me then? Threx's voice was quiet but firm. Because I am human in part, and I believe only a human can understand what is happening to me. Elias felt a strange mix of pride and pressure. This was bigger than science now. It was about trust between species, between individuals. He decided to dig deeper. We need to run cellular tests. I will need a small tissue sample. Threx did not hesitate. Take what you need. Elias carefully used a tiny tool to collect a sample from the commander's arm. The procedure was quick and painless for Threx, but the machines immediately showed alarming results. The human genetic markers were not just present, they were active, producing proteins that interacted strangely with Talani biology. Elias ran simulations and compared data with known Terran genetics. He found something remarkable. The human genes came from an old strain, one used in early Earth medical research. A strain known for rapid healing and adaptability. This is not just any human DNA, Elias murmured. It's from a special line, engineered for resilience. Threx looked surprised. That line is rare, even on Earth. Elias's mind raced. How had this DNA reached the Talani? The project had to be older than any official record. Had humans and Talani shared secret knowledge long before known contact? Before Elias could speak, the lab's communication system beeped urgently. "Doctor, you have a message from the Terran Council," the station AI announced. Elias glanced at the screen. The message was clear and firm. "Cease all unauthorized procedures on Commander Threx. Await further instructions." His heart sank. Threx's expression hardened. "They do not trust this examination. They fear political risk," Elias said quietly. "Your condition and the secret genetic link could upset many powers." Threx stood slowly, his armor clinking. "Then we must move quickly. I cannot wait for their orders. My body is failing." Elias agreed. "We need to test your blood, under different conditions. Simulate treatments. But the Council's warning means we must be careful." They worked late into the night. Elias programmed experimental treatments into the medical AI, hoping to calm the immune system's attack, without harming the commander. Threx lay still, trusting this human with his life. As the hours passed, something changed. Threx's breathing steadied and the pain in his limbs lessened. Elias allowed himself a small smile. "It's working. Your body is responding." Threx opened his eyes and gave a rare, faint smile back. "You have a strange power, human. The power to heal what my own people could not." Elias felt proud but knew the work was only beginning. The genetic conflict was complex, and political dangers loomed. But for now, in this small lab at the edge of space, two very different beings fought side by side against a mystery that could change the future. Outside the window, stars twinkled cold and distant, but inside, hope was alive. Days passed on horizon, station but for Dr. Elias Rowe, time seemed to stretch endlessly. Commander Threx remained under constant observation in the medical bay. Elias was determined to understand the strange sickness afflicting the alien commander, something no Talani healer had ever been able to fix. Elias had spent hours studying the genetic data collected from Threx's tissue samples. The human genetic markers were still a mystery. How had they come to be inside a proud alien warrior? The idea that humans were part of an ancient secret project made Elias wonder if the galaxy's history was different than anyone knew. One evening, while running a deep analysis on the DNA sequences, Elias noticed a hidden code embedded in the genes. It wasn't just random data. It was a pattern, almost like a message or a program. He leaned back in his chair, eyes wide. Could it be that the human genes were engineered not just for healing, but for something else? A kind of biological software designed to react to certain conditions? Elias called in Dr. May Tran, a bioengineer from the station's research team. "Look at this," Elias said, showing her the data. "The DNA isn't just genetic material. It's carrying instructions, almost like a biological computer." Dr. Tran examined the screen carefully. If that's true, then these genes could activate or change based on external signals or internal triggers. That would explain why Commander Threx's body is unstable. But why implant this in the Talani? Elias asked. May shook her head. Maybe it was part of a bigger plan. Some kind of weapon or experiment to give the Talani new abilities, but it's gone wrong. As the two scientists debated, Threx entered the lab. His steps were slower than before, and Elias could see the pain in his eyes. "Commander," Elias greeted him gently, "we have found something important. Your DNA is not just altered, it contains a hidden program." Threx sat heavily. "This confirms my fears. The High Council lied to me. The project was meant to create super soldiers, half Talani, half human, able to adapt to any environment, heal quickly, and fight endlessly." Elias nodded. "But the modifications are unstable. Your body is rejecting the changes, causing your symptoms." Threx looked away, voice low. "I am a failed experiment. A weapon that does not work." Elias shook his head. No, you are more than that. The program inside you might be unfinished, but it could also be a key to something greater. You have human adaptability inside you. That means you carry the strength of both species. Threx's eyes searched Elias's face. Why do you believe this? Because humans survive where others fail, Elias said. We adapt, we learn, and we change. Your body is struggling now, but it also has the potential to evolve. Threx was silent, then spoke slowly. If what you say is true, then I must learn to control this power, or it will destroy me. Elias smiled. We will find a way. Together. The next days were filled with careful experiments and tests. Elias used human medical technology mixed with Talani methods to stabilize Threx's condition. They worked closely, sharing knowledge and building trust. Meanwhile, rumors spread through Horizon Station. Some officers worried about the secret genetic link between humans and the Talani commander. Others whispered about possible threats or conspiracies. Captain Maya Lin visited Elias one afternoon. Doctor, the Council demands full reports on your work, she said. They want to know everything before this becomes public. Elias nodded. I understand, but this is delicate. If the Council reacts badly, it could harm relations with the Talani. Captain Lin sighed. We must be careful. The galaxy is watching. One evening, Elias returned to the lab to find Threx waiting. The commander's eyes were sharper, and his posture stronger. I have thought much, Threx said. This genetic program inside me is both a gift and a curse, but I will not hide from it. I want to learn how to control it, to use it. Elias agreed. We will train your body and mind. Human and Talani science together. Threx looked around the lab and smiled faintly. You humans are strange. You heal with machines and words. You do not give up easily. Elias laughed softly. Neither do you. The bond between human and alien grew. Threx shared stories of his people, their honor, their wars, their fears. Elias shared stories of Earth, of human resilience and hope. Together, they unlocked new ways to calm the biological conflict within Threx's body. But the biggest challenge was yet to come. How to tell the Talani High Council the truth, and how to protect Threx from those who might see him as a threat. As night fell over Horizon Station, Elias looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, humanity's story was changing. Not just for Earth, but for the entire galaxy. And Dr. Elias Rowe was at the center of it all. The calm on Horizon Station was fragile. News about Commander Threx's condition and the secret genetic link had begun to spread, despite Elias and the station's efforts to keep things quiet. Rumors flew fast and whispers turned into heated discussions among the station's officers and diplomats. Captain Maya Lin stood in the command center, her eyes scanning the incoming reports. The Terran Council's message was clear. Halt all. Examinations immediately and prepare for diplomatic talks with the Talani High Council. The situation was delicate. Any wrong move could lead to a breakdown in relations, or worse. Elias sat nearby, feeling the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. The science he had uncovered was incredible, but politics was a different world, one full of caution, fear, and hidden agendas. One afternoon, Elias was called to a private meeting with Ambassador Kira Solis, the chief diplomat assigned to the Talani relations. Dr. Rowe, Kira began, her tone serious. The Council is concerned. They believe revealing the truth about Threx's hybrid genes could cause unrest within the Talani Dominion. Their leaders may see this as a betrayal or a threat. Elias nodded. I understand the risks, but hiding the truth could be worse. Threx is ill. If we do not find a way to help him, it could end badly, for him and for peace between our people. Kira sighed. We want to protect you and the station, but this is above our level. The Council will decide how to proceed. Back in the medical bay, Elias found Threx deep in thought. The commander's condition was stable, but the stress was clear in his eyes. They want to keep this secret, Threx said quietly. The High Council fears what I represent, a failure, a danger. Elias placed a hand on Threx's scaled shoulder. You are not a failure. You carry the future of both our species inside you. Threx looked up, eyes burning with determination. Then I must face the Council myself. I will tell them what I am. Elias felt a surge of respect. The alien commander was willing to risk everything for truth and survival. The next day, a tense meeting was arranged. The Talani High Council members appeared on the station's hollow screen, stern faces, sharp eyes, and voices cold as ice. They questioned Elias and Threx carefully, their suspicions clear. You bring disgrace to the Dominion, one elder hissed. A warrior with human blood? This is an insult. Threx stood firm. I am still Talani. I fight for our people, but my body carries the truth. We cannot deny the power humans hold. Elias watched as the Council debated fiercely. Some saw opportunity. Human genes might be a secret weapon. Others feared weakness and contamination. The discussion ended without resolution, but the Council made one demand. Threx must undergo a full review and isolation until they decide his fate. Elias and Captain Lin exchanged worried looks. Isolation could mean death for Threx. The rejection in his body might worsen without proper care. Threx turned to Elias. Help me escape. I will not die in chains. Elias hesitated. Breaking protocol was dangerous. But he knew the commander's life and the fragile peace depended on it. That night, Elias and a small team prepared a plan. Using a shuttle normally reserved for supply runs, they would take Threx to a hidden research station, where Elias could continue treatment away from prying eyes. The escape was tense. Security scanners and patrols watched closely, but Elias's team used their knowledge of the station's layout and technology to avoid detection. As they lifted off, Elias looked at the commander beside him. Threx's face showed relief and trust. Thank you, Threx said softly. We'll find a way, Elias promised. In the quiet of space, far from politics and power, they focused on healing. Elias adjusted treatments, blending human medicine with alien biology. Threx's strength began to return, slowly but surely. Yet Elias knew this was only the beginning. The discovery had shaken the foundation of Talani pride and human diplomacy. Allies and enemies alike would watch closely. Outside the shuttle's windows, stars stretched endlessly. Somewhere out there, the future was waiting, uncertain but full of hope. The hidden research station drifted quietly in deep space, far from the busy star routes and political eyes. It was old but still functional, a forgotten place once used for medical trials. Now it was Elias and Threx's only safe haven. Inside the lab, Elias worked day and night. He studied Threx's condition closely, testing new treatments. Every step brought new surprises. The human genes in Threx's body were still active, but with the right balance of Talani medicine and Earth-based therapy, the violent reactions had started to calm. Threx was recovering slowly. His strength was returning, and the pain had lessened. But the commander knew time was short. Sooner or later, the Talani High Council, or the Terran leadership, would find them. Doctor, Threx said one evening, watching Elias study data on a screen. Do you believe there were others like me? Other hybrids? Elias looked up. He had been thinking about the same question. If this project was real, and this kind of genetic work happened, then yes, I think there were others. But maybe it was covered up long ago. Threx stood slowly and walked toward the window. What if they didn't die? What if some are still alive, hiding like me? Elias paused. That idea opened a new door in his mind. If that's true, they might be able to help us. Or maybe they hold the missing answers. Together, they began searching through old data files and satellite records stored deep within the station's systems. Most of it was outdated, but one file caught Elias's attention. A locked communication log from 43 years ago, labeled Project Synthesis, Emergency Transmission. It took hours to unlock the file, but when Elias finally accessed it, a hologram appeared above the console. A woman in a white lab coat stood in front of an old Earth lab. Her voice was calm but serious. "If you're seeing this," she said, "Project Synthesis has failed. The hybrid subjects are unstable. One escaped, a Talani warrior. He carries early-stage human adaptive genes. He is strong, but not ready. If he survives, he must find the others. The key is in the beacon, the D." Hologram ended. A string of coordinates flashed briefly before the screen went black. Elias stared at it. "She was talking about you, Threx." Threx's jaw tightened. "Then I was part of something bigger, something buried in lies." Elias nodded. "And that beacon, wherever it is, might lead us to the truth. Maybe even to others like you." They traced the coordinates. It led to a frozen planet on the edge of neutral space. The place was marked as abandoned, no known settlements, no strategic value. But to Elias, that made it the perfect place to hide something important. Within hours, the two were preparing to leave. Elias packed medical tools and data logs, while Threx checked the ship's weapons and systems. As the shuttle launched from the hidden station, Elias felt a mix of fear and excitement. This journey was dangerous. If they were caught, both human and Talani governments might see them as traitors. But if they succeeded, they could change the future. The flight was quiet. Threx sat near the window, his eyes focused on the stars. Elias broke the silence. "Do you remember anything from before your sickness started?" Threx nodded slowly. "I remember being stronger than others, faster. Healers could never explain why. I was chosen for missions others could not complete. But then, my body changed. Pain began. My leaders told me it was a rare illness. I believed them. They lied," Elias said softly. "But now you know." Threx looked at him. "And now I must find the truth." After 2 days in hyperspace, they reached the icy planet. The surface was covered in storms, thick snow and frozen winds. But beneath the ice, hidden by an energy shield, they found a small outpost. The structure was old, but power still ran through its walls. They entered carefully. The walls were marked with both Talani and human symbols. Inside, they found storage rooms filled with records, dusty data pads, medical logs, and cryo chambers. One chamber still held power. Elias wiped frost from the control panel. "There's someone inside," he whispered. Threx stepped forward. "Another hybrid?" Elias read the data. "Human Talani genetic markers, almost identical to yours, but more stable." Threx's face was unreadable. "Wake them." Elias hesitated, then activated the process. Slowly, the chamber began to warm, and the figure inside stirred. As the chamber opened, a woman stepped out, her skin a blend of soft human tones and subtle Talani markings. Her eyes opened slowly, striking and calm. She looked at Threx, then at Elias, and smiled. "You came," she said. Threx stepped forward, his voice steady. "Who are you?" "I am Commander Aris," she replied. "I was the first, and now we begin again." Elias looked from one hybrid to the other. The future had arrived, and it was no longer just human or Talani. It was something new. The cold wind outside the hidden base continued to howl, but inside the ancient structure, everything had changed. Commander Aris, once thought lost, now stood alive before Elias and Threx. Her skin held the beauty of two species, human and Talani, blended perfectly. Her presence was calm, but her eyes told a different story. She had seen pain, survival, and years of waiting. "You're the first hybrid," Elias said quietly, still in disbelief. "I am," Aris answered. "I was the first success of Project Synthesis. The others before me failed. I was placed in stasis when the project collapsed. I've been waiting for a sign, waiting for someone to unlock the truth." Threx stepped closer. "And that sign was me?" Aris gave a slow nod. "Yes. I was told that if another hybrid ever came looking, it would mean the time had come." Elias looked around the chamber. This place, it was a research base? It was more than that, Eris explained. It was a refuge, a safe house for those like us, hybrids who carried the best of both species. But after the project was shut down, the base was abandoned. I was left behind to sleep. Until now. Threx's eyes narrowed. Why did the project fail? Eris took a breath before speaking. Because both sides feared us. The Talani feared the loss of their purity. Humans feared what they could not control. So instead of using the gift, they destroyed it. Silence filled the room. Elias felt a chill. Not from the cold, but from the weight of the truth. Everything they had discovered pointed to one fact. The galaxy was not ready for the idea of unity. It had chosen fear over hope. But why now? Elias asked. Why were you waiting? Eris walked over to the control panel and activated a holographic map. Because war is coming. The balance between the Terran Alliance and the Talani. Dominion is breaking. If they fight, billions will suffer. And you believe hybrids can stop that? Elias asked. Eris nodded. We are the bridge, not human, not Talani. Something new. If we can show both sides that unity is possible, we might stop the war. Threx looked at Elias. She's right. I felt it. When I first came to Horizon Station, I didn't trust humans. But you changed that. Elias smiled slightly. You changed too, Threx. They began exploring deeper into the outpost. In one of the sealed rooms, they found an archive of hybrid profiles. Most were incomplete. Only 5 names were listed as stable. Eris, Threx, and 3 others whose status was unknown. We must find them, Threx said. If they're alive, Elias added. As they worked, a warning alarm echoed through the base. Elias rushed to a screen. An incoming ship had entered orbit. It's a Talani patrol vessel, he said. They found us. Threx's eyes narrowed. The Council must have tracked our escape. They'll try to capture us, or worse, Elias said. Eris placed a hand on Threx's shoulder. We don't need to fight them, not yet. Let me talk to them. You'll surrender? Threx asked. No, she replied. I'll make them see. Elias wasn't sure if diplomacy would work, but Eris's confidence was strong. Minutes later, a Talani boarding party arrived. They were armored, ready for battle, but they hesitated when they saw Eris standing tall between Elias and Threx. I am Commander Eris, she spoke clearly. First of the hybrids, I am not your enemy. The Talani officer leading the group narrowed his eyes. You are an abomination. We were ordered to take the traitor Threx into custody. Eris stepped forward. If you take him, you will destroy a chance for peace. Listen to me. The war your leaders fear can be stopped, but only if we act together. The officer hesitated. The rest of the soldiers looked at each other, unsure. Eris spoke again, her voice calm but powerful. We are not weapons. We are not mistakes. We are the future. You were trained to follow orders. But what if your orders are wrong? One young Talani soldier stepped forward. You speak like a true commander, not with fear, but with vision. The officer slowly lowered his weapon. I will report this to the High Council, but if you lie, there will be no second chance. As the Talani team left, Eris turned to Elias and Threx. We've bought time, but not much. Threx let out a breath. They will come back, with more ships. Then we must move fast, Elias said. We find the others, we gather proof, and we bring this truth to the galaxy. They packed supplies, data logs, and coordinates of possible hybrid locations. The journey ahead would be long and dangerous, but they had a mission now, not just to survive, but to unite. The stars stretched endlessly ahead as the small ship flew through space, far from the icy planet where truths had been uncovered. Inside the ship, Elias, Threx, and Eris prepared for their final mission, to deliver the truth to both the Terran Alliance and the Talani Dominion. 3 hybrids now stood together, not enemies, not strangers, but symbols of a future no one had dared to imagine. They had one goal, peace. Their destination was Unity Station, a neutral space platform known for hosting interstellar talks. The station was protected by peace treaties from both governments. If they could reach it, they could broadcast their message to the galaxy. "Once we speak," Aris said, standing in front of the ship's view window. "There's no turning back." Threx nodded. "Let them hear the truth. Let them see what we really are." Elias checked the navigation systems. "We're 3 hours from Unity Station. So far, no one is following us, but they all knew that could change at any moment." As the ship moved closer to the station, tension filled the air. Elias worked on the final message. A powerful video using the hybrid records, the research files, and the personal story of Threx and Eris. They would not demand anything. They would simply tell the truth and let the people decide. Finally, the EA ship reached Unity Station. It was a shining symbol of peace floating between 2 star systems. Security scanners approved their ship, and permission to dock was granted, but news of their arrival spread quickly. Within minutes, diplomats, officers, and media from both sides gathered. No one had expected this. Some feared a trap. Others were simply curious. Elias, Threx, and Aris stood at the center of the main hall, surrounded by hundreds of watchers. Lights, cameras, and whispers filled the room. Then silence. Aris stepped forward. Her voice was calm, strong, and full of purpose. "I am Aris, the first hybrid of human and Talani blood. I was created in a secret project by both your leaders. They feared what I was and buried me beneath ice and time. But I survived." She paused and looked around. "This is Threx, a Talani warrior. He did not ask to be what he is, yet he carries the future in his blood. And this is Dr. Elias Rowe, a human scientist who risked his life to save one he was taught to fear." Elias felt a wave of emotion as Aris spoke. She wasn't angry. She wasn't demanding revenge. She was simply showing the truth. "We do not come to threaten," she continued. "We come to share a truth both of your governments hid, that we, humans and Talani, are more alike than you think. That together, we created something stronger, smarter, and peaceful." The room was quiet. Even the most skeptical leaders could not ignore her words. Threx stepped up. His voice, deep and steady, echoed across the room. "I served the Talani proudly. I fought in many battles. But nothing prepared me for the battle inside my body. I was dying, until a human saved me. Not because he had to, but because he chose to." He looked directly at a Talani general. "We were told to fear humans, but fear is not strength, truth is." Elias activated the holoscreen, showing the hidden research base, the cryochambers, the hybrid files, and the emergency transmission from the original scientist who started it all. People watched in silence. There was no denying the evidence. Then, Elias spoke. "We are not here to accuse. We're here to give you a chance. To choose unity over war. To let go of old lies and build something better. Together." The message ended. For a moment, there was only silence. Then, slowly, something unexpected happened. Applause. It started with a few humans, then a group of younger Talani officers. Soon, even diplomats and commanders stood up. Not everyone clapped, but many did. The Terran ambassador stepped forward. "You risked everything to bring us this. We will not ignore it." A Talani elder walked beside him. "Your courage honors us. Perhaps the time for change has come." In the days that followed, talks began. Not just about the hybrids, but about the lies that divided 2 great civilizations. Teams were formed to study hybrid biology, to understand, not to control. New laws were proposed to protect those like Threx and Aris. And most of all, people started asking questions, not with anger but with hope. Elias, Threx, and Aris remained at Unity Station, not as outcasts but as ambassadors. One evening, as the stars shone beyond the large windows, Elias sat beside Threx and Aris. "Do you think it will work?" he asked. Aris smiled. "It already has. A seed has been planted." Threx looked into the stars. and one day it will grow into peace. The future was still uncertain. There would be resistance. There would be struggle. But for the first time in many years, there was also something else. Hope. And that hope began with a simple truth, that two species, once enemies, could find unity through understanding, and that sometimes it only takes one voice, one brave act, to change the galaxy.